Renjie gains the power of a demon, unlocking unimaginable strength, but there's a catch. This dark force messes with his mind, making him act strangely around beautiful women. Despite the chaos within, he fights relentlessly against the terrifying monsters threatening his world. But there's another problem. The demon inside him is always hungry, craving more subscribers and human emotions to survive. If Renjie doesn't feed it, he risks losing control completely. Can he balance his power, his sanity, and his mission? Or will the demon take over first? A cataclysmic event changes the world. The cataclysm and racial wars led humanity to lose both the oceans and the moon. Relentless demon disasters have become humanity's worst nightmare. People struggle amidst the destruction, desperately trying to survive against the overwhelming force of these creatures. In Jean City, a sudden explosion rocks a residential area. People sprint through the streets in terror. One person shouts that demons have arrived, warning everyone to run. The panic is clear as citizens scramble to escape the destruction. A terrifying lava giant demon appears. A civil control unit vehicle speeds through the debris-filled streets as authorities try to manage the escalating destruction. Emergency personnel leap into action from the police vehicle, shouting orders to one another. One officer urges the team to hurry, yelling for them to move faster. Another officer calls out commands, instructing them to lock down the scene, rescue civilians, and cooperate with the Demon Defense Department to suppress the demons quickly. A senior officer sternly addresses a younger team member, Renjie, reminding him to stay sharp as they're on a critical mission. Renjie responds to the stern officer, addressing him as Uncle Wei, and assures him confidently that he's got the situation under control. As the team works to contain the destruction caused by the demons, a younger officer teases Renjie, asking him what he was doing the previous night and suggesting he spent it pulling an all-nighter at an internet cafe. Renjie snaps back, telling his colleague to shut up. The younger officer continues the conversation, marveling at Renjie's ability to juggle so many responsibilities. He comments on Renjie's impressive achievements, mentioning that he was the top scorer in the big exam and is now managing several part-time jobs. Renjie retorts, asking if the younger officer would give him money if he didn't work, his tone dripping with sarcasm. His response highlights his frustration with the burdens he carries while still showing his determination to keep pushing forward. Uncle Wei raises his voice, ordering everyone to shut up and take things seriously. He sternly reminds the interns that their performance will determine their eligibility for a full-time position and mentions that successful candidates will get a chance to receive the awakening gene injection. Uncle Wei explains that every field mission is recorded on their evaluation sheets. He highlights that the more civilians they save, the better their chances of becoming full-time employees. Renjie responds bluntly, stating that he isn't saving people just to earn a promotion. Uncle Wei challenges Renjie, asking if he genuinely wants to be a hero if not for the full-time position. Ren cites regulations, explaining that rescuing civilians during a demon disaster earns a reward of 200 yuan per person, with no upper limit, and that this applies to interns as well. Uncle Wei scolds Renjie, calling him a brat and warning him not to risk his life for a mere 200 yuan. Their primary mission is to protect themselves while saving civilians. He warns them against confronting demons directly unless they have a death wish, emphasizing that hunting demons is the Demon Defense Department's job. The team acknowledges his instructions with a unified response of, "Understood," as they prepare to face the challenges ahead. A soldier approaches the group with urgency, informing the captain of a developing situation. A frantic woman runs through the smoky ruins, screaming for help. Falling to her knees before one of the soldiers, the woman pleads for them to save her child. She explains that her 5-year-old son is still trapped inside a burning building, her voice filled with panic and desperation. Renjie, frustrated, questions why the Demon Defense Department hasn't yet dealt with the third-tier lava giant demon causing havoc. Uncle Wei explains that the department's main forces are on a mission outside the city, and reinforcements will take time to arrive. A junior from the Void Demon Academy is currently engaging the demon. He adds that she is rumored to be a divine favor, hinting at her extraordinary abilities. Uncle Wei takes charge, declaring that he's going in to save the child. The panicked mother urgently shouts that her child is on the 10th floor. Wei commands the rest of the team to handle external support and move quickly. Uncle Wei heads toward the building, helmet in hand, as the team mobilizes around him. But suddenly everyone calls out "run" as he races towards the building despite warnings from the team. Wei yells, questioning if he's trying to get himself killed, as the demon hasn't been defeated yet and the situation inside remains highly dangerous. Renjie, in a show of boldness, shouts back at Uncle Wei, reminding him not to forget the 200 yuan reward. Uncle Wei pauses for a moment, questioning if the kid is really serious about risking his life for this. Snapping out of his shock, Uncle Wei rallies the team, ordering them to cool down the building and provide support for Renjie, who charges through the building's fiery corridor, dodging falling debris and intense heat. Renjie reaches a door and kicks it open with force, sending splinters flying. Battling through the suffocating heat and debris, Renjie thinks to himself about the difficulty of earning the 200 yuan reward. Renjie finds himself surrounded by swirling flames as he steps deeper into the inferno. Suddenly, a massive explosion of light and energy erupts in front of him, accompanied by debris flying in every direction. Renjie wonders if he is being affected by a sonic attack. Then he observes a dramatic confrontation unfolding ahead. Through the broken ceiling, a powerful combatant faces the lava giant demon in a battle. Renjie realizes that the lava giant demon is capable of releasing sonic attacks. Then his attention shifts to the mysterious fighter, a girl from the Demon Hunting Academy. Renjie reflects on how Jin warriors like her are uniquely equipped to battle such monstrous foes. Suddenly his focus is interrupted by the sound of a child crying for their mother. He turns his attention toward the source of the voice, a small child coughing amidst the smoke and rubble, desperately calling out in fear. Renjie follows the sound of the child's cries, calling out to locate him amidst the smoke-filled hallways. He assures the child he is here to help and quickly approaches, finding the boy coughing and calling for his mother. As the child struggles to breathe, Renjie promises to save him, addressing him as Big Brother to comfort him. Suddenly, debris begins to fall around them, and Renjie instinctively shields the boy while warning him to stay vigilant. Renjie reassures the frightened child, pledging to get him out of the dangerous situation safely. Renjie places a gas mask on the child, urging him to stay calm. Outside the building, the support team focuses on containing the fire. They use cooling water jets, aiming to stabilize the flames and reduce the danger. Renjie emerges from the building, carrying the child safely in his arms. A team member acknowledges his success, expressing relief and admiration for his bravery. Another soldier joins in, excitedly claiming that Brother Jie even helped save the summer homework and is now his idol. The scene shifts dramatically to the building as the ground cracks open and a fiery explosion erupts, revealing the monstrous lava, in stark contrast to the beast. The girl from the Void Demon Academy appears. With her sword at the ready, the girl launches herself at the lava giant, shouting as her blade gleams in the air. The lava giant, unfazed, counters with a fiery attack. The Jin warrior begins her counterattack, striking from the air with precision, while the lava giant demon retaliates by unleashing waves of destruction. She realizes the gravity of the situation as the lava giant's power destabilizes the battlefield further, prompting her to anticipate the next attack. The lava giant releases another devastating energy wave, hitting a nearby building, causing its structural collapse. A bystander shouts, warning Renjie of imminent danger, urging him to stay alert. Debris rains down, and Renjie holds the child tightly, a grim realization crossing his face as he mutters that their survival seems bleak. He then yells for Uncle Wei, desperation lacing his voice as he prepares for a last-ditch effort. Renjie hurls the child through the air. Uncle Wei, positioned below, extends his arms as the child safely lands in his grasp. But Uncle Wei cannot feel relief as Ren is still in danger. The rescuers express panic as an explosion rocks the area, forcing everyone to scatter amidst falling debris. They call out to Renjie, fearing for his safety. Renjie, buried under the rubble, struggles to regain consciousness. His allies, unable to spot him, yell his name in desperation, fearing the worst. As the dust settles, Renjie coughs weakly, revealing his battered figure. Looking at the debris around him, Renjie reflects with a wry smile, commenting on the irony of earning his hero's pay of 200 yuan, but potentially not living to spend it. The injured protagonist gazes upward at the mysterious woman, who stands amidst the rubble with an almost ethereal aura. She solemnly tells him that he is going to die. Her commanding presence and the way the light frames her figure prompt him to ask himself if she could be an angel. She introduces herself, apologizing softly, revealing her name as Jiang Jiuli. The protagonist, in his weakened state, questions why someone like her would appear in such a dire moment. As she stands above him, Ren notices the unexpected design beneath her, wondering aloud why someone would wear something so playful under a formal outfit. He laments the lack of trust between people. Lying in the rubble, he hiccups and comments on how cute the pink piggy design is, his words slurring from exhaustion and his amused state. The woman, startled by his reaction, glares at him and exclaims, "You?" Annoyed, she calls him a pervert and unsheathes her blade. Jiang Jiuli observes the protagonist buried under rubble and exclaims in shock, urging him to wake up. Ren drifts in a surreal void, experiencing what he describes as the feeling of death. Initially, he embraces the peace, finding it a comfortable escape from the chaos. However, his thoughts soon turn to unfinished business, such as the frustratingly slow internet speed at Anning and unresolved issues concerning Tian Tian. These reflections ignite a renewed determination within him. He shouts internally that he cannot die yet, his desire to live burning fiercely in the void. In the sterile confines of the operating room, surgeons examine Renjie's critical condition. They conclude that Renjie has already lost any resuscitation value. As the clock ticks past 23:44, another surgeon confirms Renjie's heartbeat has stopped, and brain death is now certain. They acknowledge that there are no vital signs left in his body. Renjie lies motionless on the operating table. Outside the operating room, a man, visibly stricken with guilt, apologizes for not taking better care of Renjie. A stern command is given to cremate Renjie, assuming his life has ended. However, within Renjie's seemingly lifeless form, his inner thoughts reveal a flicker of hope. He desperately contemplates that he might still be saved. The next panel shows the coffin being carefully wheeled toward the cremation chamber, silence heavy in the air. The workers exchange somber glances as they perform their task, while family members stand in grief, watching the inevitable. Suddenly, amidst the blazing flames, Ren wonders why they did not try to save him. Then he finds himself standing amidst an ethereal, water-like expanse illuminated by a soft, glowing light. He looks around in bewilderment, questioning aloud where he is and what this surreal place could be. Turning his gaze forward, he notices a faint, radiant object in the distance and instinctively begins moving toward it. The glowing object, now revealed as a pendant, catches his attention. He recognizes it immediately, recalling that it was something he dug out from the ruins of the Jincheng demon disaster 10 years ago. As he picks up the pendant, he reflects on how he had only kept it as a memento for his family, never suspecting it could hold deeper significance. Holding it close, he wonders if this seemingly ordinary item could actually be a treasure. Renjie holds up the glowing pendant, surprised by its sudden reaction. The energy intensifies that makes him instinctively release it. As the pendant drops into the water, he watches in confusion, questioning what is happening. A massive surge of energy erupts as an enormous watery pillar shoots up from the depths, forcing Renjie to step back in shock. His astonishment grows when the pillar shatters, revealing a gigantic, ominous tree with dark, twisting branches and pulsating veins. Standing before the colossal tree, Renjie remains silent. Renjie looks around in confusion, questioning why a massive tree has suddenly appeared before him. Suspicion rising, he wonders aloud why the tree feels so strange. Approaching it cautiously, he places his hand on the rough, pulsating bark, a sudden realization dawning on him as he exclaims that it's a demonic tree. Before he can react further, a violent eruption of golden energy bursts forth from the tree's core, sending debris flying in all directions. Thrown back by the force, Renjie flails in midair, struggling to process the chaos unfolding around him. His eyes widen in shock as he asks himself what is happening yet again. Caught in the midst of an overwhelming, mysterious power, Renjie watches in shock as a fiery orb emerges from the twisted demonic tree, announcing the formation of a demon pact. The flames swirl around, solidifying the contract with the flame demon. The conditions of the pact appear. Renjie realizes that the cost of demonization is causing others to cry. His mind races as he questions the meaning behind this contract. The contract is finalized, as the cost is paid. A powerful surge of energy courses through him as the flame demon gene is injected into his body. His surroundings tremble under the force of the transformation, the water below surging in response to the overwhelming heat. The flame demon spirit is born, initiating the contract's full effect. As the cremation process is supposed to be underway, a man puts out his cigarette, addressing Renjie's name in a somber tone. He assumes that the process should be finished by now, but something about the situation feels off. Looking towards the cremator, he senses that something is not right. A worker, confused, wonders why the body won't burn. He hesitates, questioning if something really is wrong. His uncertainty turns into alarm as he suddenly notices something strange inside the furnace. The worker and the man stare in disbelief as the sound of a heartbeat echoes through the room. 081. 090 before they can react. The cremator violently erupts, sending flames and debris flying. The worker and the man scream in terror, shielding themselves from the explosion, praying and begging for their lives. Renjie's transformation is complete. The once dead man now stands surrounded by flames, his body radiating heat and power. Flames flicker from his eyebrows like demonic horns, his grin exuding a newfound confidence. As he asks if a doctor is nearby since he believes that he can still be saved. A high-tech building looms over the city, its glass reflecting the bright sunlight. Inside, robotic arms begin intricate movements, indicating an advanced medical procedure is underway. Renjie slowly regains consciousness, his mind questioning if he hadn't already died. A mysterious woman operates a holographic console. She casually instructs him to stay still, assuring him that the process is almost complete. Confused and wary, Renjie demands to know who she is. Renjie finds himself inside a high-tech laboratory. His body is partially covered in mechanical enhancements, his right arm appearing fully cybernetic. A red-haired woman, introducing herself as Yuyen, explains that he barely escaped death and reassures him not to panic. Renjie, still disoriented, demands to know who she is and where he is. Yuyen tells him that he is in the Huatian Biological Laboratory and that someone named Xiao Li brought him there. As she finalizes his procedure, she instructs him to try moving his newly enhanced arm. Renjie examines his new mechanical arm as Yuyen explains its origins. She tells him that it is the latest all-purpose mechanical arm and reveals that its previous owner used it in a 10 kilograms TNT explosion experiment. However, while the owner turned to ash, the arm itself remained completely intact. Impressed, Renjie shifts his focus to another matter. He asks who Xiao Li is and why she would help him. Yuyen responds by revealing Xiao Li's true identity, Zhang Li, the third daughter of the Huatian Biological Group. She expresses mild surprise that Renjie doesn't recognize her. As he processes the revelation, Renjie recalls a memory of Zhang Li, her image appearing vividly in his mind. He murmurs to himself that it's her, the one with the divine favor. Yuyen then shifts the conversation back to his current situation, stating that he is quite lucky. She hands him a document, informing him that not only did he survive, but he also successfully unlocked his gene lock, confirming his status as a gene warrior with the flame ability. Renjie, still grappling with everything, points out that he had already missed the gene awakening period and questions why he would awaken now. Yuyen explains that since he is already in the awakening stage, he must maintain his body through cultivation and understand the basic principles of gene warriors. Renjie, sitting up and still processing everything, questions basic principles? A historical explanation begins, revealing that 200 years ago, the blue star's spiritual energy resurged, leading to the emergence of 12 spiritual springs on Earth. As a result, plants and animals absorbed the spiritual energy, evolving into spirits. These new beings gradually dominated the world, seeking to exterminate humanity. To counter this threat, human scientists successfully unlocked the gene lock and developed the awakening gene injection, which was then administered to ordinary people. The breakthrough led to human genes awakening, transforming people into gene warriors who could absorb spiritual energy and fight against the spirits. However, while humans gained power by unlocking the gene lock, they also paid a price. Renjie, sensing something serious, asks what that cost is. Yu Yen responds, mentioning demon scar disease. Renjie immediately reacts, recognizing the name. He mutters that it's the same illness his sister suffers from. A flashback shows a young woman writhing in pain as the narration explains that if a demon contractor fails to pay their price, their body develops demon scars. When the disease strikes, the pain is described as unbearable. Renjie's expression darkens as he pieces everything together, questioning whether his sister, Tian, might actually be a demon contractor. Renjie asks Yu Yen how the demon disease can be cured. Yu Yen tells him that it cannot be cured with the current medical advancements in Daxia. However, she speculates that if a cure exists, it might be found in the fallen demon city. Renjie reacts with shock, repeating the name of the city in disbelief. Yu Yen confirms, explaining that the place is saturated with demonic energy, which nourishes demon spirits, and suggests that a solution might be hidden there. As he processes this revelation, Renjie realizes that if what she says is true, there is hope for Tian. Meanwhile, Yu Yen instructs him to research the operation method himself now that he has learned it, adding that if anything goes wrong, he should return to her. Renjie acknowledges her help, telling her that he may trouble her again in the future. With that, he prepares to leave, and the scene shifts to a bustling city street, where people go about their daily lives under the bright blue sky. Renjie examines his new mechanical arm, noting how realistic it appears unless closely inspected. He reflects on his sudden awakening and the unexpected gain of a prosthetic limb. Realizing he has been gone for several days, he worries that Aunt Ning and Tian must be concerned about him and decides to return home immediately. As he moves through the city, he feels the anesthesia wearing off, leaving a lingering pain in his arm. He continues forward, his focus now on reaching home. However, as he approaches his neighborhood, he notices a gathering of people outside his home. Approaching cautiously, he wonders what could have caused such a commotion. The tension in the air thickens as he hears a burly man angrily questioning the business's decision to be selective about customers. The man, holding up a pair of underwear, loudly complains about being charged $300 for washing them, his frustration evident. Facing him are two women. The taller woman, maintaining a firm stance, refuses his request, stating bluntly that they don't provide that kind of service. Her unwavering attitude draws a mocking laugh from the bald man, who sneers that with such an attitude, it's no surprise they can't even afford their rent. A blond man standing beside him chimes in, taunting that if their business is struggling, they should vacate the space since Brother Wang has his eyes on it. The younger woman, visibly angered by their words, grips her staff and swings it fiercely, shouting at them to leave immediately. The moment the attack lands, Wang barely flinches, instead smirking at her strength. He remarks that she's quite strong for her size, but hitting someone with such a thin stick isn't much fun. With a condescending grin, he grabs hold of the staff, refusing to let go. Struggling against his grip, the young woman yells for him to release her. Wang, still holding the staff, leans in with a smug expression, making a remark about using a bigger, thicker stick of his on her. Furious and disgusted, the woman shouts at him, calling him a pervert, while continuing to fight against his grip. Before things escalate further, a sudden force slams into one of the goons, sending him flying. The rest of the gang turns to see Renjie approaching, his mechanical arm radiating energy. He coldly tells them to get lost. One of the thugs, furious at the interruption, lunges at Renjie, shouting that he's looking to die. Before the thug's fist can connect, Rinjie counters with a devastating blow, sending the attacker reeling. The sheer force of the strike leaves the thug crumpled, further intimidating the remaining gang members. Meanwhile, another thug, who has taken a young woman hostage, shouts that he doesn't care who Rinjie is and warns him not to interfere. Holding a knife to the hostage, he threatens to kill her if Rinjie gets any closer. Rinjie, unfazed, moves without hesitation. Before the thug can react, he delivers a punishing strike straight to his chest, knocking the air out of him. The thug stumbles back, pain etched across his face, as Rinjie once again orders him to get lost. Rinjie's grip tightens, the thug struggles, barely able to let out a groan. The lady clutches onto his arm, her voice filled with urgency as she calls out, "Brother." Rinjie, breathing heavily, feels a dangerous urge creeping in. His mind races as he realizes, if this continues, I might just take him out permanently here. With a final act of restraint, he forcefully releases the thug, sending him crashing onto the pavement with a thunderous impact. Rinjie stands tall, his arms still crackling with energy. He sternly warns them to leave, telling them that next time, they won't be so lucky. The burly thug, clutching his injuries, furiously shouts at Rinjie, but his younger accomplice panics and urges him to retreat. Despite his anger, the thug begrudgingly follows, but not before growling a threat, vowing revenge. As the two thugs stagger away, Rinjie watches the lingering white mist swirling around him. He wonders if this strange energy is emotional energy, something he hadn't noticed before. Back home, Tian excitedly welcomes him back, relieved to see him. However, she quickly notices something off and questions why he seems different. His aunt also looks at him, concerned, and asks about his hand. Rinjie confidently reassures Aunt and Tian that from now on, no one will dare to bully them. Tian excitedly praises his earlier move, clearly in awe. As the tension settles, Rinjie suddenly complains about being hungry, prompting Aunt to take charge and offer to cook while he and Tian rest. The scene shifts to the exterior of a building at dusk, the cityscape quiet after the day's events. Later, Rinjie lies in bed, reflecting on the rapid changes in his life and his transformed body. His thoughts linger on everything that has happened in such a short time. Suddenly, he wakes up with a start, his eyes glowing ominously red as he gasps in shock. Rinjie suddenly clutches his chest in agony, feeling an intense pain surge through his body. He gasps, overwhelmed by the sensation, and wonders what is happening to him. His surroundings twist and warp, turning into a swirling vortex of deep crimson energy, pulling him downward. Lost in the chaotic current, he struggles to keep control but is helpless as he is dragged further into the unknown. Suddenly, a massive gnarled tree emerges from the blood-red abyss, its twisted branches pulsating with dark energy. Rinjie's eyes widen in shock as he recognizes the monstrous entity before him. He is standing before the legendary demonic tree. Rinjie feels his body slipping out of his control, realizing something is being drained from him, struggling against the force. He groans in pain, his body trembling from the intense pressure. As the energy drain intensifies, he lets out a desperate scream, helpless against the demonic force pulling him deeper into the abyss. Rinjie recalls that ever since the fallen demon city tainted the 5 spiritual springs, only demonic energy exists in this realm. He realizes that demon spirits can transform spiritual energy into something far more sinister. As he examines his own body, dark tendrils swirl around him, and a realization dawns. If a demon contractor wants to grow stronger, they must rely on demonic energy. However, the conversion comes at a cost. He gazes at the massive demonic tree, recognizing that its insatiable hunger requires an immense amount of emotional energy. His thoughts drift to Yu Yan's words. Human negative emotions are considered the original sins of demons, and from them, emotional energy is born. Once the emotional energy nourishing the demon spirits disappears, the demon contractor will be affected by the original sins of demons. Clutching his chest in agony, Rinjie groans, barely able to endure the pain. He acknowledges that he must pay the price in time and obtain fresh emotional energy to survive. His body convulses as the energy overtakes him. A terrifying transformation begins, and flames engulf his head. He warns that if this continues, the will of the contractor will be devoured by the demon spirit, turning into something far worse. His face fully morphs into a demonic form with burning eyes and a wicked grin. He declares that this is what it means to become a true demon. The scene abruptly shifts to a bright cityscape, contrasting the previous chaos. Renjie, now back in reality, casually checks his phone while holding a food package, his expression calm for now. Renjie types a message to Yu Yen, asking what he should do if the demon spirit demands payment. Yu Yen responds briefly, advising that it is best to avoid it. Demon spirits can demand unusual forms of payment, like forcing to watch videos for 3 days straight, or disturbing behavior, such as pulling out your own nails. These demands seem to be tied to personal growth experiences. Renjie contemplates his situation, realizing that the emotional energy he had stored earlier has already been consumed by the demon spirit. He acknowledges that he must find a way to gather more emotional energy to feed it. But he does not want to resort to anything weird. Renjie suddenly bumps into a girl, causing her to stumble and fall. Startled, she lets out a surprised cry. As the girl sits up, dazed, she mutters in discomfort. Renjie, noticing her attire, subconsciously fixates on her short skirt and long legs, an intrusive thought creeping into his mind. He begins to feel an unsettling urge, a dark impulse urging him to act inappropriately. Just as the thought intensifies, a sudden jolt snaps him back to reality. His expression quickly shifts to confusion and alarm as he questions what he was just thinking, realizing the disturbing nature of his momentary lapse. The girl, visibly flustered, apologizes, explaining that she was in a hurry and didn't notice him. Renjie clicks his tongue in annoyance, but before he can respond rationally, the sinister influence lingers, warping his words. With a sharp tone, he makes some peculiar demands. Shocked by his words, the girl internally panics. She wonders if he is expecting her to compensate him with her body. Overwhelmed by embarrassment and the presence of onlookers, she hesitantly mentions the number of people around them, but then, with a composed expression, offers to go somewhere secluded where things can be resolved as he pleases. Renjie is overwhelmed by excitement and intrusive thoughts, realizing something is off. He panics, questioning if this is the price he has to pay for the demon spirit. In sheer horror, he suddenly dashes away, exclaiming his disbelief. The girl, now completely confused, shouts after him, demanding to know why he is the one running when she should be the one escaping. Later, the girl contacts someone named Chun-Di, confirming that Renjie has awakened as a demon contractor. She reports that the tarot organization has marked him and is given instructions to observe his abilities while ensuring he doesn't escape. Meanwhile, Renjie, frustrated about his financial situation, walks through a dimly lit alley when a mysterious silver-haired woman suddenly rushes into him, mistaking him for someone else. She seems disoriented, referring to him as her driver and insisting he take her home. Despite his protests, she confidently hands him a large sum of money. Seeing the cash, Renjie momentarily considers taking the job. In the next scene, he is seen accepting his new role, opening the car door for the woman while declaring his driving service is ready. As they drive through an isolated road, Renjie grows suspicious of how remote her home is and wonders why she frequents bars despite living so far away. As they continue driving through the remote area, the woman complains about feeling unbearably hot, fanning herself dramatically. She tells Renjie that she feels like she's about to overheat and asks what they should do. Renjie, staying composed, advises her to fasten her seatbelt. She leans closer, calling him little brother with a teasing tone. Renjie tenses as she suddenly places a hand on his lap, causing him to stutter in response. She then asks if he is always this clueless. Renjie, trying to maintain his composure, shifts uncomfortably. As they near their destination, Renjie questions whether she really lives in such a secluded area, noting how deserted the surroundings are. The woman, without hesitation, instructs him to stop the car right there. The car slows to a halt on a dimly lit street, its headlights reflecting off the wet pavement. Renjie pulls up in a remote area, questioning if they have arrived at the right place. The woman confidently insists that this is indeed where she lives and instructs him to stop. Renjie hesitates, still uncertain about the isolated surroundings. As he turns to confirm, the woman leans in closer, suggesting that in a secluded place like this, it's just the two of them, making her intentions clear. Renjie awkwardly tries to deflect the situation, jokingly saying he only deals in proper business and isn't in the business of handling complicated matters. The woman, however, seems more amused by his response, saying that his resistance only makes her more interested. Renjie, eyeing the hefty payment, mumbles that earning this money is proving to be much harder than he thought. Before he can react, she grabs his face and leans in, catching him off guard. He panics, shouting that he's not the kind of person who takes things so lightly and refuses to give up his first kiss so easily. His instincts kick in, and he pushes her away in a dramatic motion. Renjie pushes the silver-haired woman away, only for her to suddenly be engulfed in a swirling, ominous aura. Her body distorts, revealing her monstrous true form. Panicking, Renjie instinctively apologizes, but quickly realizes the danger as he exclaims in shock. The creature, now fully transformed, declares with eerie confidence that she will consume him piece by piece. Reacting swiftly, Renjie grabs her, trying to push her away as she lunges at him. However, her claws stretch unnaturally, nearly reaching him. As she gets closer, saliva drips from her, making Renjie recoil in disgust. Under the crimson glow of a blood moon, a woman named Yu reveals herself. Yu launches into action. She descends rapidly, her attack leaving a blazing red trail as she aims directly for the car below. The impact from Yu's attack tears through the vehicle. Renjie is caught off guard as a monstrous attack tears through his surroundings. The crimson energy spear impales the car, barely missing him. The ground splits apart beneath him, dark red energy surging violently as destruction spreads. As the chaos settles, Renjie looks around and realizes he has been thrown into the ruins of a destroyed structure. Standing across from him is Yu, now fully transformed, with a commanding presence. Behind her, several allies stand, ready. Renjie watches as the transformed demon, Manhwa, steps forward, unimpressed by the sudden opposition. She acknowledges the Demon Defense Department's interference again, showing her disdain. Yu steps up, declaring that Manhwa has no escape this time. However, Manhwa laughs, questioning if she ever intended to run away in the first place. Renjie, overwhelmed by the scale of the situation, panics and wonders aloud how a simple part-timer like him got caught up in such a massive event. Yu, unfazed, tells Renjie not to scream and instead find a place to hide. Meanwhile, the Demon Defense Department agents prepare to capture both Renjie and Manhwa, ordering their immediate retrieval. The scene escalates as the transformed woman smirks, exuding confidence. She releases a barrage of dark energy toward Renjie, forcing him to take cover. The attack impacts with tremendous force, shattering the ground beneath him. Meanwhile, Yu and her team launch into action, leaping toward the enemy. Renjie watches the chaos unfold. A new enemy emerges, a man radiating sinister energy, his presence commanding attention. He taunts the squad, speculating about their director's reaction when he learns of his third squad got personally consumed by Li Xiang. Renjie finds himself caught in the middle of a tense confrontation. Li Xiang smirks, telling everyone that they are only here for Renjie and advises the others to leave while they still can. One of the Demon Defense members realizes they are after Renjie specifically. Li Xiang steps forward, extending an offer to Renjie, telling him to join the Demon Claw organization, claiming they can provide him with anything he desires. Renjie, confused, asks, "Huh?" before a voice warns him not to believe Li Xiang, stating that once he joins Demon Claw, there's no turning back. Renjie hesitates and raises his hand, saying he has a question first. Li Xiang grins, assuming Renjie has made the right choice, and explains that in this world, Demon contractors have no place outside of Demon Claw, as the Demon Defense Department will only hunt them down. As Li Xiang continues persuading him, Captain Yu counters, saying that although there is prejudice against demon contractors, the Demon Defense Department will not attack them as long as they use their powers correctly. Another member warns Captain Yu that trying to convince Renjie with words won't change reality. Renjie then, with a straight face, asks if the Demon Claw organization has a probation period, if they pay overtime, and whether they provide social insurance. Li Xiang, caught off guard, exclaims in shock, What? What? Yi Yu and her squad react with silent disbelief as Renjie asks about the Demon Claw organization's employment benefits. Chun Hua, furious at his question, demands to know if he really thinks they are some kind of legitimate organization. Renjie responds bluntly, saying that if they aren't a legitimate company, then he's not interested in going. Chen Hua, frustrated, orders her men to stop talking nonsense and bring Renjie back immediately. Li Xiang, unfazed, says that before that happens, he'll deal with the Demon Defense Department brats first, unleashing his power as he prepares to attack. The battle escalates as Li Xiang charges forward, declaring that he will handle the fight while instructing his subordinates to focus on capturing Chen Hua. His allies respond affirmatively, ready to engage. One of the operatives tells Chun Hua to surrender, pointing out that she is outnumbered 3-1. However, Chun Hua smirks confidently and tells them to take a good look before making assumptions. Without hesitation, she pulls out what appear to be organic masses. She then hurls them to the ground, causing them to pulsate violently upon impact. Moments later, the organic masses morph into grotesque creatures, monstrous and ready for battle. One of the monstrous creatures snarls, as it receives command to peel the human skin off, to make a human leather mount. The battlefield erupts in chaos as the creatures launch a devastating attack, the ground splitting apart with sheer force. In the midst of the destruction, Captain Yu clashes directly with Li Xiang, their weapons colliding in a fierce exchange of strikes. Li Xiang smirks and taunts her, saying he feels no pleasure from their fight, implying her attacks are too weak. Captain Yu glares at him and tells him that he is celebrating too early. Li Xiang unleashes his technique, Blood Explosion. A violent surge of red energy erupts from his weapon, tearing through the battlefield. Li Xiang remains unfazed, standing firm, laughing maniacally. He declares, "Not enough! Not enough!" Meanwhile, Renjie takes cautious steps back, realizing the battle is escalating beyond his control. His instincts scream at him to flee. As he starts running, his mind races. He wonders how he ended up caught in this mess, thinking about the Demon Defense Department and the sudden emergence of demons. Regret sets in as he tells himself that if he had known things would turn out this way, he would never have taken the driving job. His thoughts shift to Tian Tian and Ant waiting for him at home. Realizing this is his only chance to escape, Renjie hesitates as Chen Hua looms over him, her body pulsating with dark energy. He stammers, unsure of his next move. Chen Hua mocks him, her voice laced with sinister amusement, asking where he thinks he's going. Her transformation intensifies. With a sudden burst of movement, she lunges at Renjie, declaring her desire to taste him. Startled, Renjie barely dodges, shouting in panic. Yi Huai surges with power, refusing to let the enemy proceed any further. Renjie finds himself in a dire situation as a massive claw looms over him. He watches in horror while Yi Huai prepares to intercept the attack from above. Renjie's eyes ignite with fiery energy, signaling an awakening. A sudden explosion engulfs the battlefield, sending Yi Huai flying. Yi Huai lands amidst the rubble, regaining her composure. The air is filled with embers and residual energy from the explosion. Yi Huai wonders aloud what this strange force is. Chen Hua, meanwhile, screams in agony, clutching her face as flames engulf her. She howls that her face has been ruined. Yi Huai, still processing what just happened, questions how this is even possible. She knows only divine favor can harm demons. Renjie, now kneeling in the center of a ring of golden flames, remains unconscious. Yi Huai stares at him, perplexed, wondering why he is at the center of this miraculous event. Chen Hua, still enraged, vows revenge, shrieking that she will skin Rinjie alive for what he has done to her. Captain Yu clasps her hands together, focusing her energy. As the power surges, a massive blood moon manifests behind her, signaling the activation of her blood eye awakening. She warns that under the moon, the price will soon be paid. With a swift motion, Captain Yu propels herself forward, forming a colossal blade. Li Xiang, unable to react in time, is struck directly by the attack. Li Xiang grips the blood-red weapon tightly, acknowledging the power of divine favor, but remains confident in his own strength. He declares himself stronger and activates transformation. Blade of ultimate darkness, his body surging with dark energy. Yi Huai is instructed to protect Rinjie while the others hold off the enemies. Yi Huai acknowledges the command. The enemy roars, unleashing Blade Ghost, as he charges in with overwhelming force. A surge of energy erupts through the enemy's monstrous hand. He taunts her, remarking on how pitiful the situation is, claiming that another divine favor is about to fall. He asks if she is scared, his tone dripping with mockery. Despite the overwhelming pressure, Yi Huai remains steadfast and reassures her allies, stating that reinforcements will arrive soon. However, before she can react, a powerful strike lands against her. The enemy scoffs at her mention of reinforcements, questioning whether she really believes they will make a difference, saying she won't get the chance to see them. Yi Yu gets slammed into the ground with overwhelming force, his divine state shattered in a single hit. His allies look on in shock, one of them calling out to check if he's okay. Meanwhile, uncertainty spreads among the group as they question why the reinforcements haven't arrived yet. One of them suggests they move together, while another looks at Rinjie, now surrounded by a strange fiery aura, and wonders what's happening to him. Concern grows as they recall Yi Yu's earlier command to protect Rinjie. Suspicion starts creeping in. Could Rinjie actually be a demon contractor? As the flames surrounding him intensify, dark tendrils coil around his body, pulling him deeper into an ominous abyss. A sinister voice taunts him, telling him to stop struggling and submit to the demon's will. In a moment of desperation, flames ignite around him, his body reacting instinctively. Twin blades of burning fire erupt from his hands. The monstrous enemy scoffs, mocking them as overconfident brats before launching an attack that sends Yi Huai and the others flying. Yi Yu, barely standing, watches in horror as the battlefield shifts against them. Suddenly, a clawed hand grips Rinjie's shoulder from behind. He turns only to find himself restrained. Chun says if they cannot take Rinjie back alive, then bringing his corpse should suffice. She questions whether Rinjie is truly the one they are looking for, if he could be taken out so easily. Enemy smirks and asks if he isn't a demon contractor, then demands that he show some skills. Just as the enemy tightens his grip, an explosion erupts from Rinjie's body, sending the attacker flying. The explosion catches everyone off guard. The enemy groans in pain but quickly recovers, landing next to his companion. Yi Yu watches in disbelief, demanding to know what is happening. Enemy clutches his wounded chest, his expression twisted in disbelief as he questions how this is possible. His confidence wavers as he watches the swirling embers in the distance take shape. The fiery glow intensifies, revealing Rinjie, his eyes burning with an inhuman light. The transformation reaches its peak, his body now clad in a demonic, flame-infused armor, his entire presence exuding a terrifying, untamed force. A system notification echoes in the air. Demonization activated. Rinjie, without hesitation, swings his arm in a wide arc, a blazing inferno following the motion. The intense flames spiral outward, setting the battlefield ablaze with overwhelming heat. In response, the horned demon warrior braces himself, leaping to avoid the destructive wave. Rinjie, unshaken, hovers in midair, with an air of absolute authority. He calls out his attackers as insignificant pests. He declares with an imposing aura, demanding how anyone dares to act recklessly in his presence. Li Xiang mutters to himself, struggling to comprehend how such strong demonic energy could emanate from Rinjie. Meanwhile, Yi Yu, still recovering from the battle, watches from a distance alongside her allies. She acknowledges the sheer force of Renjie's power, remarking that a single move was enough to push Li Xiang back, something they had struggled to do collectively. As Renjie raises his arm, fire twists and coils around his fingers. Meanwhile, the white-haired woman, realizing the truth, exclaims that Renjie is indeed the one Taro has been searching for. Yi Yu, overhearing this revelation, questions whether Taro is truly after Renjie. Renjie, with unwavering dominance, declares that only death awaits those who enrage him. Renjie conjures a massive, burning spear of pure destruction and hurls it toward his enemies. Li Xiang is struck directly by the attack. The silver-haired woman is also caught in the assault. In his final moments, Li Xiang, barely clinging to life, mutters to the unseen Ghost King that their mission is complete. They have found the person they were searching for. As his consciousness fades, he confesses his fear, not wanting to die in such a terrifying manner. His body finally succumbs, his last thoughts filled with the realization of Renjie's horrifying strength. The battlefield trembles as a final explosion engulfs the area, sending shockwaves through the surroundings. Renjie coldly remarks that everyone before him is nothing more than a sacrifice for the demon tree. Yi Yu reacts in shock. The sheer pressure of Renjie's power is suffocating, forcing the group to take defensive stances. As the flames begin to subside, the group notices something odd. Renjie is no longer emanating his demonic aura. One of the warriors urges the captain to check on him quickly, realizing that the demonization might have dissipated. They cautiously approach the unconscious Renjie. With his transformation undone, he appears vulnerable. One of the team members checks Renjie's condition and confirms that he is still alive. Another asks how they should handle him, concerned about his danger level. Yi Yu acknowledges that involving Taro is no small matter and decides to take Renjie back to the department first. The team agrees, with one of them offering to carry Renjie, noting that the others are seriously injured. Yi Yu, however, insists that she will take care of it. She instructs Yi Jin to take care of Yun Ho while another team member contacts the department to ask about reinforcements. The response is filled with exasperation. They are used to reinforcements arriving only after the battle is over. As Yi Yu adjusts Renjie, she suddenly tenses up. Without hesitation, she sends him flying with a powerful kick. Renjie nervously tries to defuse the situation, hesitantly saying that if he claimed it was unintentional, would they believe him? His awkward grin, however, only fuels Yi Yu's frustration. Blushing with rage, Yi Yu calls him a pervert while internally noting his astonishing recovery after demonization. She realizes that the demon he contracted must be no ordinary one. Sensing the tension, Renjie awkwardly scratches his head and mentions that there's nothing left for him here. He casually adds that someone is waiting for him at home for dinner, implying he should leave. Before he can make his escape, Yi Yu sharply orders him to wait, making it clear she has no intention of letting him off so easily. Yi Yu tells Renjie that for safety's sake, he should return with them to the department. Renjie dismisses the idea, stating there is no need for that. He clarifies that he has no intention of joining Demon Claw, as he and the group are not very familiar with each other. As Renjie starts to leave, the team prepares to block his path, standing firmly in formation. Just as he senses something is off, a hand suddenly grabs his shoulder. Turning around, he finds Yi Yu glaring at him. She calls him a pervert and demands if he really thought she was discussing the matter with him. Later, inside a moving car, an exasperated voice declares a complaint against Yi Yu. The scene shifts to Renjie, his expression darkened, as he finally concedes and agrees to come along. Sitting in the car, arms bound, he complains about the unnecessary use of force while Yi Yu sits calmly, seemingly ignoring him. Renjie finds himself standing before an ominous, twisted black tree rising from a crimson landscape. Shocked, he questions if this could be the legendary demon tree. His gaze then shifts toward the branches of the tree, where he notices two shadowy figures entangled in its dark aura. Realizing that the figures are the demonic spirits of two individuals, he questions how they have come to be in his vicinity. As the two demonic entities descend toward him, Renjie grows increasingly wary. He wonders aloud if they now expect him to take responsibility for them. When he can barely take care of himself, Ren clutches his chest, feeling an intense heat coursing through his body, as red energy swirls around him. He exclaims that his body is burning. He screams out, overwhelmed by the sensation. Meanwhile, in a moving car, the group reacts to an unpleasant smell. One of them accuses the man of farting. Ren then loudly declares that he needs to relieve himself and can't hold it any longer. His companions, visibly disturbed, cover their noses in disgust. The scene transitions to an isolated house in the countryside, where two uniformed officers stand outside. They appear annoyed as they listen to the commotion coming from inside. One officer, covering his nose, comments on how noisy the situation is. The other, frustrated, warns that if the person inside doesn't come out soon, they will barge in. A voice from inside promptly responds, saying he is coming out. The focus shifts to the entrance, where a cane taps against the ground, signaling the approach of someone elderly. An old man wearing a cap and glasses steps out, looking at the officers. One of the officers, still irritated, compares the situation to a lazy donkey making a mess, stating that once they reach headquarters, the man can relieve himself as much as he wants. The two officers stand outside the house, growing impatient. One of them wonders why the brat is taking so long to come out. Meanwhile, an old man with a cane quietly walks past them, heading toward the backyard. As the officers continue waiting, the old man sneaks around the house, slipping into another entrance. The officers, frustrated, yell toward the house, asking if the brat fell into a hole. Peeking from behind the corner, Ren smirks to himself, confident in his escape. He mocks their efforts, thinking they don't stand a chance of catching him. As the officers repeat their warning about storming in, the young man, already far away, successfully makes his escape, leaving the clueless officers behind. Yi Yu and her team arrive at the Magic Defense Department, where Chief Shang reacts with frustration, questioning how a group of them allowed the target to escape. She acknowledges that she did not anticipate that the tarot cards were searching for this individual, expressing her disappointment. Yi Yu takes responsibility for the incident, standing firmly before the chief. Shang, however, is not convinced and immediately orders the capture of the escapee. Yi Yu insists that she be given 1 day to provide an explanation, emphasizing her credibility and urging the chief to trust her. After a tense moment, Chief Shang relents, agreeing to give Yi Yu only 1 day to resolve the situation. Yi Yu, looking tense, is ordered by the Magic Defense Department Chief Shang to immediately lock all information on Renjia as classified. Yi Yu hesitates but agrees, saying she will do it now. Shang, exasperated, reminds them they only have 1 day and tells them to act quickly. The team acknowledges and hurries off. As they move through the hall, one of the subordinates questions where they could possibly catch the brat within just a day. Meanwhile, Renjia finally reaches his home in the neon-lit city, stretching and sighing in relief. He remarks that he's exhausted and thinks about taking a hot bath later to relax. As Renjia walks through the city streets, he hears a voice warning anyone who dares to offend the Shanha group, making it clear that trouble awaits them. Noticing the approaching danger, Renjia mutters to himself, realizing that more people are coming to cause problems. Down an alley, a group of men frantically runs away, one of them shouting about a fierce woman. Another, clutching his mouth, panics over losing a tooth, complaining that the woman kicked it out. As Renjia observes the chaos, his attention shifts to a young woman sitting in a wheelchair, gripping a mop with determination. She taunts the fleeing men, challenging them to try causing trouble again. Surprised, Renjia looks at her and questions if she was the one who scared them off. Yao Yao, meeting his gaze, immediately asks why he took so long to come back. Yao Yao excitedly tells Renjia that his girlfriend has been waiting for him for a long time. Renjia, completely caught off guard, asks in disbelief if he even has a girlfriend. A new presence makes itself known as a shadowed figure addresses Renjia, stating that he has finally returned. Stepping into the light, the woman greets him casually with a simple hi, while Yao Yao remains seated beside him. Renjia, asks how she managed to find this place. The woman smirks and explains that she had been here a long time ago. She adds that some guys came looking for trouble, but she simply took care of them. Jia quickly turns away, telling her she's being persistent and that if she has something to say, they shouldn't talk here. The woman follows him, determined. Meanwhile, Yao Yao watches from a distance. Aunt comments that Jia is still shy about having a girlfriend, despite being grown up. She then wonders aloud if her brother is trying to avoid responsibility. Standing on a rooftop overlooking the city, Jia tells the woman that if she has an issue, she should take it up with him and not involve his family. She responds, stating that he's misunderstanding something. Gesturing toward the skyline, she comments on how beautiful the night scenery is. Jia, skeptical, asks if she really came all this way just to look at the view. She then explains the state of the world, recounting how after the Great Cataclysm, human civilization was nearly destroyed. Gene warriors emerged to fight against the monster race, the spirit race, and the demons, leading to the reconstruction of 33 main cities within the Great Tower. Yiyu stands before Renjie, offering him a compelling proposition. She asks if he truly has no desire to accomplish something greater, both for himself and his loved ones. She then suggests that by joining the Magic Defense Department, he would have a better future and greater opportunities for growth. After a brief pause, Renjie responds, admitting that he respects those who dedicate their lives to protecting the country and humanity, even at great personal sacrifice. However, he explains that he is different. He only wishes to protect his home and the people closest to him. Yiyu, with an understanding gaze, acknowledges his dedication to his sister's well-being. Then, with a knowing smile, she poses a question. What if the Magic Defense Department had the ability to cure his sister's illness? Renjie's eyes widen in shock as he processes the claim. He repeats her words in disbelief, questioning whether the Magic Defense Department could truly heal Zhang Yaoyao's demon scar disease, exclaiming that it is impossible. He argues that, at best, a suppressant can only slow the disease's progression, but it cannot be removed entirely. Yiyu remains composed and insists that she is telling the truth. She reveals that there is a spirit medicine known as lantern grass which has the potential to completely remove demon scar disease. Furthermore, she explains that the Magic Defense Department is currently conducting research on it. Renjie, still processing the information, asks Yiyu if the medicine she mentioned truly exists. Yiyu assures him that it is absolutely true and adds that she does not joke about such matters. With a determined expression, Renjie clenches his fist in resolution. He then tells Yiyu that if the medicine can truly cure Yao Yao's illness, he is willing to join the Magic Defense Department. Yiyu acknowledges his decision and tells him that she will contact him and arrange for his registration in the department. Renjie, now more at ease, waves his hand and tells Yiyu that she does not have to worry. He is ready and can be there anytime. Yiyu simply responds with a short affirmation, indicating their agreement. As Renjie walks away, Yiyu watches him with a sly smile, remarking on his cunning nature. Holding her phone, she makes a call to her superior and informs them that Renjie has agreed to join, but under a condition. On the other end, the chief reacts with disbelief, questioning Yiyu's decision to promise the rare lantern grass. They remind her of its immense value and declare that her team's budget will be cut in half for the next quarter as a consequence. The scene transitions to the next day at Xiao Hall, where Renjie resumes his daily routine. While heading to work, he reflects on his circumstances, acknowledging that while his day-to-day responsibilities continue, he is also about to register with the Magic Defense Department. However, he remains skeptical, thinking that they are still trying to take advantage of him. Renjie walks down a hallway, focused on his phone while carrying a bag over his shoulder. Two men in uniform glance in his direction as he proceeds. Upon entering a room, a bald man immediately questions Renjie about his late arrival. Another man, addressing him as Brother Jie, informs him that a significant issue has arisen. Renjie, slightly puzzled, asks what the major problem is. The man then reveals that Renjie has been specially recruited as a student by the Demon Hunting Academy. Renjie takes the recruitment letter and looks at it silently. The bald man, noticing his reaction, remarks on his luck, explaining that if he passes the test, he will be able to join the academy. Without hesitation, Renjie dismisses the offer, casually tossing the letter back at the bald man, stating that he has no interest in the demon hunting academy. The bald man looks stunned as the letter lands near him. Renjie appears lost in thought as a bald man impatiently asks him why he is daydreaming and urges him to hurry up. Another man standing beside him explains that if he enrolls in the demon hunting academy, he could become a professional demon hunter. However, Renjie dismisses the idea, saying that he doesn't care about being a demon hunter and prefers just being with everyone. Suddenly, Renjie hears that the commission for a single mission starts at a few $100,000 and can even reach millions. His excitement grows as he demands the test location, urging the man to tell him quickly. At the training hall for the officer test, Renjie stands among other candidates. The requirement for entering the Demon Hunting Academy is to pass Xiao's officer test. Unfazed, Renjie confidently remarks that this is not a big thing for him. Meanwhile, as more candidates arrive, one of them questions why there are so many test participants this year. Another responds, saying that they had a similar feeling, explaining that due to a manpower shortage, other departments have come to recruit people. A bearded man, holding a clipboard, calls out to Wei, asking if he has brought a new batch of recruits for the test. Wei responds the man would lose his job if he didn't bring people. The bearded man then remarks that Wei, at his age, should retire since he is just an old martial artist, not a Jin warrior, and questions the point of him charging at the front lines. Wei, looking at the recruits, asks for their cooperation, telling them to give him some face. The recruits respond affirmatively, assuring him not to worry. Renjie, looking towards the crowd, notices a particular woman and wonders why she is there. The woman, upon seeing Renjie, internally recognizes him and thinks to herself that it's him. A blonde woman standing beside the dark-haired woman, addressing her as Miss Li, asks if she knows Renjie. Miss Li hesitates before denying knowing him. Commanding officer asks the new recruits what the motto of Xiao officers is. In response, the recruits shout in unison that Xiao ignites them to guard the city ablaze with lights, displaying their enthusiasm and discipline. Another officer overseeing the test announces that there is a special reward for the candidates. He informs them that the participant with the highest total grades will receive a bonus of 30,000 yuan, motivating them to put in their best efforts. The officer then reveals the first challenge of the test, barehanded rope climbing. One guy, feeling confident, expresses that this particular task is something he excels at. As the test officially begins, the examiner signals the start. As the test begins, Renjie grips the rope firmly, preparing for the climb. He swiftly pulls himself up with confidence, quickly surpassing the other participants. Looking down at the rest of the candidates, he casually announces that he will proceed ahead, showing no concern about the competition. Meanwhile, the other candidates react with shock. One of them exclaims in disbelief, questioning how Renjie's robot arm is allowed in the test. Another competitor, frustrated, immediately calls for the officer, accusing Renjie of cheating. Elsewhere, two female observers react to the situation. One of them, surprised, questions why no one is monitoring such an obvious advantage. She turns to her companion, asking if the mechanical arm Renjie is using belongs to her brand, implying advanced technology. The other woman, observing Renjie's performance, hesitates before acknowledging his unexpected capability. One of the examiners acknowledges that the rules did not specify a ban on mechanical arms, affirming that the test result is valid. Another officer, clearly pleased, laughs and expresses his satisfaction, saying that Renjie finally made him proud. Some of Renjie's competitors appear annoyed, accusing him of cheating while maintaining an arrogant demeanor. However, another advises them to remain calm, reminding them that this is only the beginning and there are more tests to come. The next test is a 3,000-meter weighted rescue run. The participants are required to carry a dummy representing a person being rescued and complete the long-distance run while ensuring its safety. Renjie confidently remarks that a 3,000-meter run is too easy for him now, appearing relaxed and ready for the challenge. The examiners signal the candidates to get ready before announcing the beginning of the race. The competitors, each carrying their respective dummies, charge forward onto the track, determined to prove their strength and endurance. Renjie finds himself in a predicament as he realizes the mannequin he is supposed to carry is flimsy and not sturdy at all. Frustrated, he questions why it is in such poor condition. As he watches his competitors gain a lead, he internally panics, wondering what he should do next. Meanwhile, an instructor angrily calls out Renjie, questioning why he used so much force and demanding that he find another mannequin quickly. However, another official calmly explains that the test hall does not provide extra mannequins, and if he fails to complete the 3,000-meter run within the allotted time, he will fail the test. Two female observers in the stands take notice of the situation. One of them, smirking, remarks that the cheater has now broken his own mannequin, predicting that he is doomed. The other, slightly concerned, comments that Renjie seems to be running toward them. Renjie dashes towards the two women, and one of them, startled, mutters in confusion. The other, shocked by his approach, questions what he is planning to do. Renjie, with a confident smirk, proposes that if he does not have a mannequin, carrying a real person should count for the test. Before the women can react, he grabs one of them, causing her to shout in protest, demanding that he put his hands down. Renjie, unfazed, apologizes but insists that he is just going to borrow her. As he swiftly lifts her onto his shoulder, she continues struggling and yelling in disbelief. Meanwhile, the other woman shouts at him to let go of Miss Lee, clearly alarmed by his bold actions. Ren, instead of using a mannequin for the rescue test, grabs a real person, Miss Lee, and starts running with her. Miss Lee is shocked and confused by his actions, while others look on in surprise. Other test participants express disbelief, questioning whether carrying a real person is even allowed in the test. One of them asks if this situation is acceptable. Miss Lee, while being carried, internally panics and tries to convince herself to remain unnoticed, repeating in her mind that she is just a fake person to avoid embarrassment. The bald officer watching the scene laughs, saying that the run always manages to surprise him. Meanwhile, another official hesitates, unsure about how the rules apply to this unexpected situation. The final assessment is introduced, a simulated rescue mission. The participants are told they are in a disaster-struck building where the rescued individuals have been injured. Their objective is to treat the wounded and safely transport them out of the danger zone. Renjie reassures the woman, telling her not to worry because he will save her. However, she dismisses his words, urging him to stop talking and get it over with quickly. He begins administering first aid, explaining that he will first stop the bleeding in her leg. Noting her state of shock, he states that he needs to restore her heartbeat. The woman, observing his serious expression, internally acknowledges that he seems quite focused. As Renjie prepares to perform CPR, he informs her that it is necessary to stabilize her heartbeat. She immediately reacts with alarm, demanding to know what he is doing. When Renjie moves to press down on her chest for CPR, she threatens him, warning that if he dares to continue, she will chop off his hand. Renjie, determined to complete the assessment, tells the injured girl that she has lost too much blood and insists that he needs to perform artificial respiration on her. The girl, shocked and defensive, threatens to beat him if he dares to continue. Renjie, in a moment of strong resolve, states that as a Siyao official, he would never allow a single living being to pass before his eyes without doing his duty. He expresses his commitment to saving her no matter what. The girl warns that if he keeps talking nonsense, she will leave, and if he fails the assessment, he will have only herself to blame. He reluctantly concedes, telling her that if an examiner questions whether he followed the prescribed procedures, she won't deny that he did. With this, the assessment is officially declared over as the recruits gather for the results. Renjie stands alongside the other candidates as an instructor evaluates their performance. The instructor remarks that the overall performance of this batch of candidates was good, indicating a satisfactory completion of their assessments. Suddenly, an alarming sound echoes through the hall, catching everyone's attention. The instructor looks up, his expression shifting from composed to concerned as the noise intensifies. Renjie and his fellow candidates react in shock as they witness a major demonic disaster alert flashing before them. One of the candidates questions why an alert is happening now, believing the assessment had already concluded. Another one, meanwhile, wonders if this could be a hidden assessment event. A bald officer swiftly delivers urgent news, announcing that a major demonic disaster has occurred in District 49. He states that the level of the disaster remains unknown, but its effects are widespread. Officer commands Team 7 to set off immediately, indicating the urgency of the mission. The recruits respond in unison, affirming their dedication to guarding the city and fulfilling their duty. A sudden explosion erupts in the distance, engulfing buildings in flames and sending debris flying. The recruits barely have time to process the devastation before panic spreads among them. Some scream in alarm, warning others that an undead dog is on the loose. Chaos ensues as they scramble for safety, some carrying wounded comrades while others prepare for a fight. In the midst of the destruction, a military transport vehicle arrives on the scene. The arrival of reinforcements brings a sense of relief to the soldiers. A senior officer, referred to as Old Ma, is asked about the current situation. He reports that the disaster is a G-level event but is rapidly escalating towards an F-level, with an unknown number of 4th-ranked undead dog demons. Upon hearing this, one of the recruits reacts with shock, questioning if they are truly dealing with a 4th-ranked undead dog. Another recruit, still trying to grasp the situation, asks whether these creatures are really that powerful. A senior officer explains the terrifying abilities of the undead dogs, stating that they possess strong regenerative powers. He elaborates that any severed pieces of their flesh will transform into new undead dogs, each with different abilities, making them incredibly dangerous. The bald officer, sensing the urgency, inquires whether reinforcements from the Magic Defense Department have arrived. However, his comrade informs him that he hasn't seen them yet, as he prioritized evacuating the wounded first. Acknowledging the urgency of the situation, the officer instructs him to take the injured to the medical treatment area and assures him that they will handle the rest. The squad is given final instructions before heading into the danger zone. The commanding officer informs them that the situation inside is still unclear, so they must move in pairs. If they discover trapped individuals, they are instructed to report their position immediately and wait for rescue. He warns them not to act recklessly and urges them to prioritize their own survival. The group responds in unison, affirming their understanding. Wei turns to Renjie and warns him not to take unnecessary risks, reminding him that if he gets injured again, he might not be as lucky this time. Renjie, however, starts to reassure him, telling him not to worry. Before he can finish his sentence, an explosion erupts, sending debris flying. Renjie and Wei shield themselves as the blast shakes the ground. As the dust settles, their eyes widen in shock as a shadowy figure emerges from the smoke. Wei exclaims in disbelief, recognizing what is coming. The monstrous creature fully reveals itself, an enormous undead dog with glowing eyes and an eerie aura. It lets out a deafening growl as its massive form becomes visible. Renjie and the others realize that the beast is heading straight for them, ready to attack. As chaos erupts, the soldiers are ordered to retreat, with someone urgently shouting for everyone to get back quickly. Another voice yells at them to hide, as the danger escalates. Panic spreads through the ranks when the monstrous creatures approach, and someone commands everyone to run. A terrifying undead dog, with multiple heads and glowing red eyes, charges toward the battlefield, sending shockwaves through the fighters. One of the creatures lunges at a bald officer, who barely has time to react before its jaws snap dangerously close. He cries out in alarm as he narrowly evades the attack. At the critical moment, Renjie leaps into action, using his agility and strength to counter the monstrous being. Flames burst forth as his attack collides with the beast, creating a fiery explosion that pushes it back. Renjie, now surrounded by flames of energy, prepares to face the monstrous undead dog before him. His comrades in the background recognize his presence, with one of them exclaiming in astonishment that it's brother Jie. As Renjie stands before the massive undead creature, the tension rises. His opponent, a towering, monstrous beast with glowing red eyes, snarls at him, ready to strike. Uncle Wei, alarmed by the situation, yells at Renjie to retreat, expressing his frustration that he doesn't want to be the one pulling him out of the crematorium again. However, Renjie remains resolute, telling Uncle Wei to leave the battlefield to him. He urges Uncle Wei to lead the other brothers to rescue the trapped people instead, fully taking responsibility for the fight ahead. Renjie confidently taunts the undead demon dog, mocking its presence and inviting it to shake his hand. The monstrous creature, enraged by his provocation, roars furiously, revealing its massive fangs. Renjie, unfazed, comments on the creature's rudeness before launching himself toward it with intense speed and determination. As the battle escalates, Renjie skillfully evades the demon's attacks, leaping into the air and delivering a powerful strike. The ground shatters beneath them as the immense force of their clash sends shockwaves through the battlefield. Flames swirl around Renjie's arm as he prepares his final attack, summoning his signature technique, the Flame Demon Ghost Blade. With an intense expression, he commands the demon to perish, unleashing a devastating fiery assault upon his opponent. Renjie delivers a powerful, fiery attack, striking down the monstrous undead dog with precision. The intense flames swirl around him as he lands gracefully, his power radiating from his body. The battlefield falls silent for a moment as the others watch in awe at his overwhelming strength. One of the soldiers, still in shock, wonders aloud if this is truly the same brother Jie they knew. Another, equally astonished, questions whether Renjie was really the one who took down the undead dog. A senior officer, however, immediately interjects, firmly denying their assumptions. Renjie is warned to be careful, as the undead dog is capable of reviving. In response, Renjie instructs everyone to leave the area quickly while he handles the situation. As the fallen undead dog begins regenerating, its body undergoes a grotesque transformation, and it soon emerges with two heads, now appearing more powerful than before. Renjie observes the regeneration process with surprise, remarking that he hadn't anticipated the creature's ability to regrow even after being decapitated. Just as he processes this realization, the two-headed undead dog lunges toward him with immense force. In a moment of intense confrontation, Renjie meets the beast head-on, preparing for another fierce battle. Renjie, his body ablaze with flames, declares his intent to cut the regenerating undead dog into minced meat to prevent further revival. Renjie then unleashes his ultimate technique, calling it Blazing Thousand Blades. A dazzling explosion of fiery blades erupts in every direction. Determined, he taunts the enemy, daring it to see if it can still survive as he prepares to shred it into minced dog meat. His movements are swift as he soars through the air, wielding two blazing blades in an aerial assault. A chaotic storm of intersecting fiery slashes creates an inescapable web of destruction aimed at the undead dog. The surrounding debris and smoke create a chaotic backdrop as he finishes his attack. From a higher vantage point, Yi Yu observes him. She acknowledges his strength, remarking that she now understands why the academy seeks to recruit him. She contemplates that Renjie has learned to harness the demonic power within him. Without hesitation, she orders her subordinates to assist in the ongoing battle. Her commanding presence is evident as she leaps down from her position, leading the charge toward the battlefield. Renjie stands tall as reinforcements descend, flames still flickering around him. Renjie sarcastically questions why the Magic Defense Department is always so late and suggests they ask their chief for a raise. The silver-haired woman reminds him that he is also a member of the Magic Defense Department and shouldn't act like an outsider. Renjie dismisses her statement, insisting that he hasn't officially joined them since they haven't given him what he wanted. Then she urgently warns Mu Chuan to be careful, informing her that the undead dog is reviving. Mu Chuan responds confidently, saying he is already moving fast and asks for cover. Mu Chuan starts forming a powerful magical seal, as monstrous undead creatures rise from the debris. Renjie remains undeterred as the creature's attacks descend upon him. He raises his arm, summoning a blazing inferno that arcs in a wide sweep, forming a barrier of flames. Yiyu warns him that these creatures are infinitely regenerating organisms, explaining that they can only be fully destroyed through magical techniques. Meanwhile, Renjie, his expression fearless, taunts the creatures, laughing loudly as he dares them to come at him again. Yiyu asks Zhang Muchuan if he is alright. Zhang Muchuan responds, assuring her that he is okay. Zhang Muchuan's eyes widen with intensity as he gathers his strength. He plants his hands firmly on the ground, unleashing a surge of energy. A massive pillar of purple energy erupts from the earth, engulfing the surroundings. Undead dogs emerge from the destruction, snarling as they prepare to attack once more. Renjie wonders aloud if it is a magic technique. Suddenly, a powerful voice commands the destruction of the undead creatures. A surge of magic energy slices through them, tearing their bodies apart with an intense purple force. As the magical attack takes effect, shredded remains of the undead creatures rain down from the sky, scattered by the sheer force of the spell. Renjie, witnessing the effectiveness of the attack, expresses admiration, calling it incredibly strong. The battlefield is shown from a distance, where Renjie and the others stand amid rising smoke and residual energy from the massive confrontation. A mysterious figure, dressed in a purple suit and hat, observes the battlefield from an elevated position. He clicks his tongue in amusement, watching the chaos unfold below. The figure, identified as Ghost King Luo Su, discusses the outcome of the demon disaster with a subordinate. He remarks that the results were quite satisfactory, especially regarding the undead dog. His subordinate acknowledges the success and attributes it to using a brute as bait. Luo Su smirks as he asks whether the list has been compiled. His sinister demeanor suggests he has been orchestrating events from behind the scenes. Yuan Pei, a blond man dressed in a brown coat, confirms that all demon contractors in Jincheng, including newly awakened genetic warriors and individuals with special abilities, have been accounted for. He holds a stack of documents, indicating that they have been tracking their targets meticulously. Luo Su, satisfied with the report, responds with a simple, "Good," his expression filled with confidence as he looks ahead, plotting his next move. Luo Su is seen reading the list of names. With a sinister smile and glowing purple eyes, Luo Su acknowledges Renjie's name. He comments that Renjie seems interesting, his tone carrying a hint of amusement and intrigue. A grotesque tree, composed of swirling darkness and crimson tendrils, absorbs the emotions of human souls. It describes how grief, anguish, and fear become fuel for the ominous structure. The energy it absorbs will serve as nourishment for the tree of demons. The scene shifts to a devastated cityscape, where collapsed buildings and rising smoke paint a grim picture of destruction. Military vehicles move through the area. Amid the destruction, 2 construction workers in safety gear assess the aftermath of the battle. Nearby, a group of medical personnel and security officers tend to the wounded and the dead. Some victims lie motionless on stretchers, while the medics check their conditions. Renjie walks through the ruined cityscape, his steps firm despite the desolation around him. His presence alone commands attention as he surveys the destruction left in the wake of the battle. Uncle Wei, sitting on the ground, reflects on his years as a Xiao officer. He admits that despite witnessing countless battles and deaths, each demonic disaster still unsettles him. He acknowledges that, in their line of work, very few deaths are ever truly peaceful. Renjie approaches Uncle Wei and inquires about his condition. The older man coughs and reassures him with a weak but determined tone, saying that his old bones aren't ready to give up just yet. Uncle Wei advises Renjie to listen to him and leave, suggesting that he should go to the Demon Hunting Academy to further his studies. He explains that becoming a demon suppressor will provide him with better opportunities for development. Renjie questions whether it wouldn't be better to become a Xiao officer and help people during disasters. Uncle Wei, however, dismisses the idea, telling him that there is no end to the people they can save, implying that a broader solution is needed. Uncle Wei continues his explanation, stating that being a Xiao officer cannot prevent the occurrence of demonic disasters. Instead, he insists that becoming a demon suppressor would be far more meaningful, as it involves hunting down demons and containing demonic disasters at their source. Renjie hesitantly brings up something that has been on his mind. He asks Uncle Wei about the Jinchenggrade demonic disaster that occurred 10 years ago. Uncle Wei immediately reacts, saying that it is a memory he would rather not recall. Still, Uncle Wei recounts how 10 years ago, entities from the Dangtian demon realm invaded Daxia, destroying cities one after another. Uncle Wei, still reflecting on the past, looks at Renjie and asks why he suddenly wants to know about something that happened 10 years ago. Renjie, holding a pendant in his hand, explains that the demonic disaster from that time is deeply connected to his life. He has been trying to piece together the truth and understand the significance of what happened back then. As he stares at the pendant, Renjie admits that he has been searching for answers, trying to figure out the meaning behind it all. Uncle Wei, sensing something is troubling Renjie, asks him directly what is going on. Renjie, waving off the concern with a forced chuckle, insists that it's nothing serious. He casually says he was just asking and prepares to leave. As Renjie walks away, Uncle Wei calls out, reminding him not to forget his advice about joining the Demon Hunting Academy. Renjie responds, saying he will consider it. Renjie makes his way through the devastated city, walking with a confident stride as military vehicles roll through the ruins. As he moves, he calls out, reminding Uncle Wei to apply for his bonus later. He proudly states that today he rescued 341 people, earned 68,200 yuan, and secured a medical subsidy of 100,000 yuan. In response, an exasperated voice yells back, calling him a brat. As the city remains in chaos, Renjie walks among a group of officers who are rushing towards their duties. His phone starts ringing with an incoming call, and he picks it up, answering with a simple, hello. On the other end of the call, a woman instructs him to report to the Magic Defense Department the next morning, explaining that their chief wants to meet him. However, Renjie refuses, stating that he won't go unless they give him what he wants. The woman then responds with an enticing offer. She lists out 3 washing demon scar suppressors, 1,000 pain pills, a portable in vitro ion dialysis machine, a green card from Jincheng Shinwu General Hospital, and free medical care. She tells him he can come and collect everything himself tomorrow. Renjie, while walking amidst soldiers, sarcastically pleads over the phone, addressing the person as Princess Yeyue. He asks if he can arrive at 8 in the morning and apologizes for provoking her earlier. He playfully suggests that she can punish him with a whip the next day. Yeyue, sitting in her office, holds her phone and responds to Renjie's antics with a single thought. She considers him to be mental. The scene shifts to a bright, clear morning in the city. Renjie is seen walking through the busy streets among other people, with towering skyscrapers in the background. Renjie looks at his phone while navigating through a small alleyway. He confirms that he has reached the address he was given and seems somewhat uncertain about the place. While walking through a bustling street, Renjie questions whether Yeyue is messing with him on purpose. He expresses his doubts, noting that the location doesn't resemble the headquarters of the Magic Defense Department. Renjie hears someone speak to him and turns around, looking slightly surprised. The voice comments on his punctuality. Renjie, caught off guard, responds with a startled "eh" as he turns his head. Renjie reacts with shock, his eyes wide, mouth open as he yells out in surprise. His expression conveys complete disbelief at what he sees. Yiyu, dressing quite boldly, confidently walks toward Renjie. Her posture is casual, and she seems completely unfazed by her appearance, while Renjie appears stunned and caught off guard. She at Renjie with a serious expression and directly questions him, asking, "What's wrong with you?" Renjie, flustered and blushing, hurriedly apologizes while using a towel to wipe his sweating face. He awkwardly states that the way she is dressed made it disrespectful for him to look away from her. The white-haired woman tells Renjie that he is weird and urges him to keep moving, assuring him that the headquarters is just up ahead. Renjie, still perplexed by her attire, asks if she usually dresses like this and wonders if she feels cold. She dismisses his concerns, pointing out that it's summer and questions how it could be cold. She then instructs him to walk faster and stop talking nonsense. Renjie, however, remains skeptical and asks why he can't find the headquarters if they are supposedly there. The woman reveals that the headquarters of the Magic Defense Department is actually underground. She explains that the offices on the surface are just clerical branches meant to deceive people. Renjie, looking at their surroundings, remarks that what he sees appears to be nothing more than a garbage dump. Next, the woman reaches out her hand towards a brick wall, seemingly activating something. Suddenly, a hidden door appears in the wall, much to Renjie's shock. The woman stands confidently in front of the now visible entrance, indicating that they have arrived at their destination. Renjie follows the woman into what appears to be a concealed elevator entrance. As the doors open, the space inside looks futuristic and unexpected. The woman notices that Renjie is hesitating outside and questions why he is still standing there. She asks if he is coming in. Renjie, still slightly flustered, hesitates before muttering an uncertain response. Both step into the elevator. While the woman nonchalantly checks her phone, Renjie looks visibly uneasy. His body language suggests discomfort, though he tries to compose himself. Renjie, still struggling to make sense of the situation, brings up the woman's choice of attire. He asks if she dresses like this at work as part of some kind of disguise. The woman barely reacts, simply acknowledging his question with mild curiosity. The woman casually explains that there are no strict dress codes in the department and that employees are free to wear whatever they want. Renjie, surprised by the unconventional policy, comments on how progressive and innovative the organization seems. Internally, he reflects on how unexpected her open-mindedness is compared to what he had imagined. The two step out of the elevator, and the woman tells him that they have arrived at their destination. He reacts with surprise and excitement, his expression lighting up. As they step into the grand lobby, they are greeted by an expansive, modern space bustling with activity. He is visibly amazed by the environment. He begins to internally reflect, noting that the Magic Defense Department seems rather unusual. He recalls that even during his time as a part-time male dancer, he wore more clothes than the people in this place. His suspicions deepen as he observes the people around him, including a woman in revealing attire. He hesitantly starts to question if this is really normal for the workplace. His internal monologue reaches its peak when he finally concludes that this must be part of the company culture, his expression showing both amusement and disbelief. Like the video right now if you want to see how Renjie is going to cope with all this hotness around him.